Venom is the original and most iconic symbiote in Marvel history. What started as a sleek new suit for Spider-Man became one of his greatest enemies, and sometimes his most unpredictable ally. Originally discovered by Peter Parker in Secret Wars issue number 8 in 1984, the symbiote seemed like the ultimate upgrade, enhancing his strength, generating organic webbing, and never running out of costume changes. But when Peter realized it was alive and corrupting him, he tore it off, only for it to find someone who hated him just as much as it did, Eddie Brock. Eddie, a disgraced journalist, bonded with the symbiote through their shared hatred of Spider-Man, creating Venom. Stronger, faster, and completely undetectable by Spidey's spider sense, unlike Peter, Eddie had no qualms about using lethal force, making Venom one of his deadliest foes. Venom grants its host superhuman strength, durability, and agility, able to lift over 70 tons and withstand gunfire. It can morph into tendrils and weapons, regenerate from injuries, and even turn invisible with exceptional camouflage. The symbiote also retains knowledge from previous hosts, adapting to their strengths and weaknesses. However, it has two major weaknesses: fire and sound. Intense heat can burn it, and high-frequency sound waves force it to separate from its host. So if you ever run into Venom, maybe bring a flamethrower or a really loud speaker. Over time, Venom evolved from villain to anti-hero, embracing his role as the lethal protector. Other than Eddie Brock, he's had multiple hosts, from Mark Gargan to Flash Thompson as Agent Venom. His legacy even ties into the ancient symbiote god, Null. Whether he's a hero, villain, or something in between, Venom is the symbiote that started it all. And if you get in his way, let's just say you might lose your head over it. Carnage. If Venom's a monster, Carnage is an absolute nightmare. First appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 361 in 1992, Carnage is the result of the Venom symbiote spawning a far more dangerous offspring, one that bonded with the sadistic serial killer Cletus Cassidy. Unlike Eddie Brock, who has a twisted sense of morality, Cletus lives for chaos and destruction. With the Carnage symbiote amplifying his bloodlust, he doesn't just fight heroes, he butchers anyone in his way just for fun. Even Venom fears him because Carnage is faster, stronger, and just completely unhinged. Carnage takes everything Venom can do and cranks it up to 11. He has superhuman strength, speed, and durability, but his biggest advantage is his shape-shifting ability. Unlike Venom, who mostly forms tendrils, Carnage can morph his body into blades, axes, and even projectiles. He can shoot symbiote spikes, create deadly whips, and turn his own blood into weapons. He also has a stronger healing factor, meaning he can survive injuries that would kill Venom. Worst of all, he's immune to Venom's biggest strength, his ability to block Spider-Man's Spidey sense. This makes Carnage an unpredictable and nearly unstoppable killer. However, like Venom, he shares the same weaknesses: fire and high-frequency sound. But good luck getting close enough to use them before he turns you into a red smear on the pavement. Carnage isn't just dangerous, he's left a bloody trail across the Marvel Universe. In Maximum Carnage, he led a massacre across New York, beating Spider-Man, Venom, Captain America, and even Iron Fist. In Carnage USA, he took over an entire town, infecting its citizens, including the Avengers, with symbiote copies of himself. And in Absolute Carnage, he became powerful enough to fight Venom, Spider-Man, and the entire Avengers roster at once. He's fought and defeated Venom multiple times, and even overpowered the likes of Wolverine and Deadpool. At one point in an alternate universe on Earth 985, he bonded with the Silver Surfer's cosmic power, creating an even deadlier version of himself. Unlike Venom, who sometimes fights for good, Carnage is pure, unchecked evil. From small-scale murder sprees to world-ending threats, he has no goals, no remorse, just carnage. Toxin. If Venom's the original and Carnage is the nightmare, Toxin's the wild card. First appearing in Venom vs. Carnage, issue number 1, Toxin is the 1000th symbiote in their genetic line, which makes him a big deal. Even Carnage feared that Toxin might grow stronger than both him and Venom combined. And when your homicidal, bloodthirsty parents scared of you, that says a lot. Toxin was born when Carnage reproduced, against his will by the way, and bonded with NYPD officer Patrick Mulligan. Unlike his predecessors, who either embraced their dark urges or fought them constantly, Mulligan tried to balance his human morality with the symbiote's instincts. He used his powers to fight crime, battling both villains and symbiote threats, but the struggle between his humanity and Toxin's violent urges made for a complicated partnership. Being the strongest third-generation symbiote, Toxin inherited all the abilities of Venom and Carnage, plus a few upgrades. He has superhuman strength, speed, and agility, surpassing even Carnage. The ability to morph his body into tendrils, claws, and weapons. Camouflage, allowing him to blend into his surroundings like a horror movie monster. Immunity to Spider-Man's spider sense, making him impossible to predict in combat. A heightened healing factor, making him nearly unkillable. Toxin is also more resistant to fire and sonic attacks than Venom and Carnage, making him harder to take down. Despite being young, Toxin has gone toe-to-toe with some of Marvel's biggest threats. In Venom vs. Carnage comics, he defeated an alliance of both Venom and Carnage all at once. In Toxin comics, he even tracked and defeated a host of supervillains, including King Cobra and the Wrecker, using his symbiote-enhanced detective skills. Later, the Toxin symbiote was forcibly taken from Mulligan and passed through multiple hosts, including Eddie Brock himself, who temporarily used it to become stronger, more controlled version of Venom. Toxin has always been seen as the perfect symbiote, stronger than both his predecessors, yet with the potential to be a true hero. But that depends on who's in control. Scream. When it comes to deadly symbiotes, Scream is one of the most terrifying. First appearing in Venom Lethal Protector issue number 4, Scream was one of the first 5 children of Venom created by the Life Foundation to be a controlled superweapon. The Life Foundation, a shady organization obsessed with survival in a post-apocalyptic world, extracted and experimented on the Venom symbiote, forcing it to spawn multiple offspring. One of these was Scream, which bonded with Donna Diego, a mercenary with a fractured mind. While the other Life Foundation symbiotes struggled to adapt, Scream fully embraced the power, becoming a ruthless, unpredictable force. But her own instability and paranoia led her to turn against her fellow symbiotes, believing they were evil and needed to be destroyed. Like all symbiotes, Scream possesses superhuman agility, strength, and durability, but what makes her stand out is her signature weapon, her hair. She can use her massive prehensile tendrils like whips, restraining enemies or slicing through metal. Her symbiote reacts faster than most, making her incredibly unpredictable in a fight. She has enhanced speed and reflexes, putting her on par with Venom. Stealth and camouflage, allowing her to stalk her prey like a horror movie villain. Scream also shares the classic symbiote weaknesses, fire and sound, but her agility and unpredictability make her hard to hit. Scream has fought Venom, Spider-Man, and even her own symbiote siblings. After going rogue, she hunted down and killed several of the Life Foundation symbiotes, showing just how ruthless she can be. And in the King in Black event, when Null, the god of symbiotes, invaded Earth, Scream played a crucial role in the resistance, fighting off Null's forces with everything she had. Donna Diego eventually met a tragic end, but the Scream symbiote lived on, passing to new hosts, including Patricia Robertson and Andy Benton. No matter who wears the symbiote, Scream remains a relentless and unpredictable force. Fage. Some symbiotes lurk in the shadows, striking from the darkness. Fage? He's more of a run straight at you and tear you apart kind of guy. First appearing in Venom Lethal Protector issue number 4, Fage was one of Venom's 5 children created by the Life Foundation. And while the others have their own quirks, Fage was all about one thing: brutal, relentless combat. The Life Foundation, in their never-ending quest to weaponize symbiotes, forced Venom to spawn new offspring. Fage bonded with Karl Mach, a ruthless mercenary who saw the symbiote as nothing more than a tool to rip through anything that stood in his way. Unlike some of his symbiote siblings, Fage didn't bother with complicated motives. He was aggressive, dangerous, and perfectly fine with being a living weapon. Fage shares the classic symbiote enhancements: superhuman strength, speed, durability, and healing. But his specialty is weaponry. He could form razor-sharp blades and spikes from his limbs, turning his own body into an arsenal. His enhanced ability and speed make him a nightmare in close combat. Like his fellow symbiotes, he could camouflage himself, but let's be real, he's not the sneaky type. And of course, he's still vulnerable to fire and sonic attacks. Fage has battled Venom, Spider-Man, and even his own symbiote siblings. He's been part of multiple symbiote wars, including clashes against Carnage during Absolute Carnage and Extreme Carnage. While he may not be the strongest symbiote, he makes up for it with his sheer aggression. At one point, he even merged with the Life Foundation siblings to form Hybrid, a super symbiote that made Venom himself take a step back. Over the years, Fage has bonded with several hosts, but his core personality remains the same. A brutal, no-nonsense fighter who loves a good brawl. Riot. Stealth and strategy have their place, but Riot prefers the direct approach. Hit first, hit hard, and keep hitting until nothing's left standing. First appearing in Venom Lethal Protector issue number 4, Riot was one of the 5 symbiotes forcefully spawned from Venom by the Life Foundation. And while his siblings had their own unique traits, Riot was the muscle of the group. The Life Foundation created Riot along with Fage, Scream, Agony, and Lasher in an attempt to make their own team of controlled symbiote enforcers. Riot bonded with Trevor Cole, a mercenary who wasn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. But he didn't need to be. With Riot, brute strength solved most problems. Unlike some of his siblings, Riot wasn't big on tactics or planning. If something stood in his way, he'd rather punch first and ask questions, never. Like all symbiotes, Riot grants his host enhanced speed, strength, agility, and healing, but he takes things up a notch when it comes to raw power. He's one of the physically strongest Life Foundation symbiotes, often overpowering opponents with sheer force. His preferred weapon is massive blunt force weaponry. Riot specializes in forming giant maces, hammers, and clubs from his symbiote, making him a walking wrecking ball. He also retains camouflage and wall crawling abilities, though just like Fage, he's not sneaking anywhere. Like all symbiotes, he's also vulnerable to fire and sonic attacks. Riot has squared off against Venom and Spider-Man, often teaming up with his fellow Life Foundation symbiotes to take them down. While he may not be the smartest or most tactical, his raw strength makes him a serious threat. He was also one of the key symbiotes in Absolute Carnage and Extreme Carnage, proving that even among symbiotes, he's one of the most violent ones. Riot became more widely known after appearing in the Venom movie, where he was bonded to Carlton Drake, the Life Foundation's leader. In the film, he was even stronger than Venom, showing off his brutality by tearing through anything in his path. Lasher. Lasher doesn't charge in like a wrecking ball. He stalks, he waits, and when the moment's right, he strikes with deadly precision. First appearing in Venom Lethal Protector issue number 4, Lasher was one of the 5 Life Foundation symbiotes forcefully spawned from Venom. While his siblings relied on strength and chaos, Lasher specialized in precision and control. The Life Foundation created Lasher alongside Riot, Fage, Scream, and Agony as part of their twisted experiment to weaponize symbiotes. Lasher initially bonded with Ramon Hernandez, a mercenary trained in survival tactics, which fit the symbiote's combat style perfectly. Unlike Riot's brute force or Fage's berserker aggression, Lasher fought with efficiency. Swift, calculated, and always in control. Like all symbiotes, Lasher granted his host enhanced strength, agility, reflexes, and healing, but his unique trait is whip-like tendrils that extend from his back. Unlike Venom's tendrils, Lasher's act like extra limbs, allowing him to attack multiple enemies at once. His whips can extend to incredible lengths, restraining foes, lashing out at high speeds, or even being used to swing through the city. He retains the classic symbiote abilities like wall crawling, camouflage, and enhanced durability. His combat style is more precise than the other Life Foundation symbiotes, favoring agility and control over raw destruction. Of course, he still has the standard symbiote weaknesses, fire and sonic attacks, not much of a surprise there. Lasher has tangled with Venom, Spider-Man, and his own symbiote siblings, often fighting as part of the Life Foundation's strike force. Later, after the Life Foundation symbiotes were defeated, Lasher and his siblings merged to form Hybrid, a fusion symbiote that was even deadlier than the sum of its parts. During Absolute Carnage, Lasher was one of the many symbiotes hunted by Carnage's army, proving his worth in battle once again. Over time, Lasher has bonded with multiple hosts, including a U.S. soldier in the Mercury team, who used him as a military asset. If Venom is the brute force of symbiotes, Lasher is the assassin. Silent, swift, and always striking when you least expect it. Agony. For Agony, fighting isn't about strength or speed. It's about breaking down our enemies in the most painful way possible. First appearing in Venom Lethal Protector issue number 4, Agony was one of the 5 symbiotes forcefully spawned from Venom by the Life Foundation. But while her siblings focused on raw power strategy, Agony developed her own lethal way to stand out. Created alongside Riot, Fage, Lasher, and Scream, Agony was bonded to Leslie Gisneria, a Life Foundation mercenary. Unlike her more aggressive siblings, Agony had a different approach to combat, one that involved melting enemies alive. She didn't just use brute force. She played dirty, using her unique chemical abilities to dissolve weapons, armor, and even flesh. Like all symbiotes, Agony grants her host superhuman strength, speed, agility, and durability. But what sets her truly apart is her ability to secrete and absorb corrosive chemicals. She can spit acid capable of dissolving metal, flesh, and even other symbiotes. Her body absorbs toxins, allowing her to neutralize poisons and even weaponized attacks. She retains classic symbiote abilities like shapeshifting, wall crawling, and enhanced senses. Her combat style focuses on surprise attacks, melting weapons before enemies can even get a chance to use them. Of course, she still has the usual symbiote weaknesses, fire and sonic attacks. Not even acid can burn that away. Agony has battled Venom, Spider-Man, and even her own siblings. She's one of the Life Foundation's elite enforcers, using her acid attacks to disarm and destroy enemies in seconds. After the Life Foundation fell, Agony merged with her other symbiotes to become Hybrid, a powerful fusion with enhanced abilities. During Extreme Carnage, Agony was resurrected and bonded with a new host, Gemma Shin, showing that her legacy of destruction wasn't over yet. Among the Life Foundation symbiotes, Agony stands out as one of the most unpredictable. She doesn't just overpower her enemies, she melts through their defenses, quite literally. While she may not have the sheer brutality of Riot or the finesse of Lasher, Agony ensures that any fight she's in is one her enemies won't walk away from. At least, not in one piece. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the comic book world.